We live in a world full of heroes in areas of science, business, social activism, sports, all areas of our lives. Some of our heroes are real, others are a fiction. In the area of cinema and graphic print, my greatest hero has always been Batman. Unlike most of our fictional heroes, Batman has no special powers. He isn't faster than a speeding bullet, he can't fly, he cannot control the weather, and he has no extrasensory perception. Batman, like you or I, is only human. But unlike most others, he possesses both the drive to push his human limits in all areas and the resources to make it happen. Alone, Batman stands against the corruption of Gotham, the corruption that, like a disease, has completely consumed its host. The corruption that has found its way into every part of society, robbing most people of any joy, leaving them in a perpetual state of miserable survival. It is this essence, this feeling that so many games have been unable to capture. In this episode of What Makes This Game Great, we look at the first game that was an excellent adaptation of a comic series. Welcome to Arkham Asylum. I invite you to stay a while to discuss the reasons why this game is worthy of greatness. The events of Arkham Asylum take place over one night. Joker, with the help of Harley Quinn, takes control of the island, unleashing the inmates. Of course, among these inmates are some of Batman's most dangerous antagonists.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
As the Dark Knight, it is up to you to stop Joker and restore order to the asylum. The gameplay is a third-person beat-em-up with strong stealth elements and light puzzle solving and an RPG-like character building. Additionally, the game rewards exploration in a similar manner to Symphony of the Night. As you acquire new gadgets and abilities, Batman can not only advance into new areas, but can also unlock secrets in areas that you have already cleared. The combat in Arkham Asylum is smooth and simple, but it is quite vicious. Batman can take on several opponents at once. He attacks them, jumping between them. He can also counterattack them and block their attacks. If the opponents are armed, he can knock the weapons out of their hands, basically by giving them a couple of kicks to the head. Or he can take them out with a batarang. The stealth elements in this game really include the Predator combat, which you can hang from gargoyles or rise up out of floors to take down enemies. You can string them up on the gargoyles, you can glide down and kick them in the head, knock them out. You can drop down behind them and quickly do a silent takedown. And the puzzle solving in this game is light, as I mentioned, but it's not annoyingly light. It's not stupidly light. Also, you get the added advantage of having a lot of alternate puzzles that you don't need to complete the game, but you complete to get additional points and additional lore, which I'll be going into in the next section of this video. One other gameplay element that I do want to discuss is that you have two views in Arkham Asylum. One is the regular view, where you see the things in Arkham Asylum as they are. The next is your detective view, where you see dangers, potential threats, potential secrets, areas of weakness, and enemies in very stark detail as opposed to their surroundings. So basically, you can see their skeletons. If they're armed, they show as skeletons with guns, but they're all red. And of course, things like gargoyles show up as orange areas. Grates that you can open show up as orange areas. Things that you can, tiles that you can lift to go into the floor show up as orange areas. Those are opportunity areas that you can get into to get away from the enemies that you encounter. As a kid, I loved the Tim Burton Batman movies. I watched them over and over again. I also played the Nintendo Entertainment System Batman game. It was a pretty good game for the system, and I still play it now and then, even today. But I had to wait 20 years before this game came out, which captured the essence of being Batman in Gotham City. But let's explore how this game does that, because that is the reason why this is such a great game. First of all, it has to do a lot with the aesthetic of the asylum. This is not a new facility. This is not some modern psychiatric hospital. This is an old hospital, and with it comes all that creepy history and all those images and ideas and feelings of what doctors did to their poor patients in such facilities in the past. It really does add a lot to it. Gotham is an old city, and it's got old, creepy buildings, and this is one of them. In fact, this is multiple buildings on the same island. All of them old, all of them have a creepy aesthetic to them.
Relax, you're safe now.
Next, scattered around the island are 100 Riddler trophies. As you find and collect these, you gain bonus points to use on new abilities, but it also unlocks character biographies, which help to deepen the lore of the game's characters. Also adding to the lore of the world of Gotham is a collection of tapes you can discover. Some are in very easy to find locations, others need to be found through backtracking. These tapes contain interviews between the craziest of Arkham's Asylum's patients and their doctors. Character bios and the patient tapes help give more context to the characters found in the game. But because no one in Gotham is untouched by corruption, included in this game are hidden messages from the Arkham Chronicler. Together, these tell the story in his own voice of Amadeus Arkham. It is another tragic story from Gotham's history that ends with the storyteller being admitted to his own asylum as a patient. There's one final set of Riddler puzzles that contribute to the lore in this game. In most areas, hallways, and rooms, there's at least one riddle to be solved. If you find the answer to that in the room, you're rewarded with points and yet another snippet of Batman lore. However, this lore is not limited to the events of Arkham Asylum. Many are just from the comic book series alone and have to do with other characters that you never run into or never find in this game. There are two final things about this game that make it one of my favorites that I feel I should discuss. Arkham Asylum deals with the deaths of Bruce Wayne's parents, but it does so without lingering on it, but still injecting an emotional element. I find this to be important, as that event is the main factor in the genesis of Batman as Bruce Wayne's alter ego. It is the reason he exists. It is the force pushing him beyond his limitations. Gotham's hope was born from the Wayne family tragedy. The final factor is how Arkham Asylum manages the main villains. Each one has their own motivations, their own story. While it's true that Batman needs to deal with each one, they are not necessarily playing by Joker's rules. Poison Ivy, for instance, is more concerned about her plants than whatever Joker has planned. Zsasz seems just fine dealing revenge on the Arkham Asylum staff. They may be villains, but they are not a team. There is no love lost between these lunatics. When Arkham Asylum was released, it was considered to be the first really good video game adaptation of a comic series. Great mix of gameplay, the depth of lore, the villains, character exploration all wrapped together and set in a creepy old mental hospital. Developers of Arkham Asylum understood how to bring the world of DC Comics to life. I love replaying this game to capture the footage for this episode. Although many people do prefer Arkham City to Arkham Asylum, I prefer this one. I'll always play this one. I've played through Arkham City before. I don't like the open area as much. I don't like the lack of lore as much. And I'm not a big fan of Ra's al Ghul as an antagonist. So, Arkham Asylum for me is always going to be a great game. Let me know what you think. Have you ever played Arkham Asylum?
Counter the effects of this tight
Did you prefer it
Where
over
do you
Arkham City?
Oh,
If you haven't played Arkham Asylum, would you want to go back to play it from watching this video? Anyway, I want to thank you for watching,
or I'll be after
and
you next.
thank you for joining me for another What Makes This Game Great. Have a wonderful day.